Who is the devil? And our favorite thing to say is how you believe in the devil but don't believe in God. Bro, this is not the devil. Satan is actually the reptilian named Pendar. The Pendar is the king of the reptilians. In case you didn't know, the Illuminati, the elites, they are still puppets. They're the ones controlled by reptilians. These reptilians are the most dangerous and feared in the universe. They're not the only ones being controlled. They're controlling multiple constellations. They are an enemy to the Orion Empire and the Galactic Federation. And you know how Satan has horns? That actually came from Saigar, another race of reptilians. The Pendar is the Satan the elites actually worship. These reptilians are way more advanced than us. They can't feel pain or fear. And when somebody else is in pain and fear, they get energy off that. That's why they're trying to keep the whole human race in pain and fear. These reptilians are way stronger than us, way smarter. They can control us telepathically. They can see in pitch black dark. They love the dark. That's why they can't take the sun. That's why Bill Gates is trying to block the sun so they can come out on Earth. Their goal is to control the whole universe so we can be enslaved for eternity. I don't care if you believe me. Do your own research. Part 2 coming soon.
Strange Encounters with Beings from Another World, Part 1. One of the most well-documented encounters with extraterrestrials took place on November 5th, 1975, when a man by the name of Travis Walton, along with his 7-member logging crew, were first-hand witnesses to a now famous alien abduction. According to the crew, as they were driving home in their truck after a long day of work, they saw a bright light in the forest nearby, and when they stopped to take a better look at it, one of their members named Travis exited the vehicle to investigate more closely. Not long after, a large beam of light shot out from the vehicle and onto Travis, causing him to pass out instantly, and triggering his friends to drive away for fear of their own lives, meanwhile leaving him for dead. Travis claims that when he first woke up from the light, he first thought that he was in a hospital, up until he noticed that the creatures standing above him were not humans at all, but rather gray aliens with cat-like eyes. After a short period of futile resistance, he eventually put some type of mask over his head, and once again he fell unconscious, only to wake up right back in the forest where he was originally abducted. Despite believing that he had only been missing for 5 hours, once he returned to civilization, he learned that he had been missing for 5 days. Ever since his alleged encounter, Travis has adamantly maintained that what he says happened actually took place. He and his former logging crew have even passed several lie detector tests, but until the aliens return to give us their side of the story, the strange case of Travis Walton will continue to be treated with a certain degree of skepticism.
What's a conspiracy theory that you 1000% believe in? I'll go.
The conspiracy behind Wayfair. So I remember when this first was going on, a lot of people were all up in the air about it. Some people believed it, some people didn't believe it, and I happen to be one of those people that really didn't believe it. I thought there was no way that this huge corporation would use their website and certain items and certain coupon codes to possibly sex traffic kids. So I really never thought too much into it until one day something happened that actually changed my mind. So this happened about a year ago. So I work for a pretty well-known bank, and I remember we would always have this older lady come in, and anytime she came in, she would always do a cash deposit and immediately do a wire transfer. So one day I got a chance to help her, and I remember she did the cash deposit, which was like $13,000, all in cash, and immediately wanted to do a wire transfer. So when I started to help her, I remember the account number was written down on like a small piece of paper and the amount. So she was sending about 12,900 and like whatever cents to this account number. So I got to the part where I needed to type in who it was going to, and she told me it was going to Wayfair. And at first I really didn't think too much into it because she did have a business account, and I figured, well, maybe she's buying new furniture for her office or whatever. So after we were done, I started to go through her previous wire transactions just to see where all these other wires were going that she did prior. And they were all going to Wayfair. There was like 6 or 7 different wires that she was doing in the past like 60 days. And that's when I changed my mind. I knew that there was no way that this person that is always doing cash deposits and immediately doing a wire transfer afterwards to Wayfair, sending them thousands of dollars in 2 months, was buying furniture. There was no way. And I remember shortly after I reported the account just for like secondary review or whatever. And next thing I know, she never comes in again. I never see her again.
Lisa left out Lopez. I ain't gonna lie, doing research on her to make this video kind of fucked me up. She knew so much and was so wise. The elites killed her off just like they did everybody else who woke up to this fucking world. Take a look at this clip and why she think that Tupac died.
Did we actually lose Tupac?
out of the universe, there's 100%, 85%, they don't know what's going on. 5% do and want to tell everybody, and then there's the 10% who do and they don't want the other 85% to know. I think he was part of that 5%. I think everyone is sent here on a mission to find themselves and find out what their purpose is and to fulfill it.
Basically, what she was saying is, it's 5% of the population who's woke, and Pac was one of that 5%, and that's why he got killed off. See how she said it's 10% that don't want the rest of the world to know what's going on? He's talking about these fucking elites trying to stop the 5% from waking up the 85%. Now take a look at this. They talked about how Lisa flew down to the Honduras to get away from all the fame and recuperate with a vegetarian diet and spiritual regimen of numerology, astrology, and superstition. Why did she go down to the Honduras? According to the list, Lopez frequently went to the Honduras to do cleanses under the guidance of Dr. Sebi. He was very close with Dr. Sebi and learned a lot from him. If you don't know Dr. Sebi, he's a herbalist that found the cure to all diseases. Now take a look at this. Lisa Left Eye Lopez has spent the last month in Honduras working on a multitude of projects. Clothing line, a new solo project, and a book about her colorful and sometimes troubled life. But guess what? She died before she was able to write the final chapter. They said she died from a fucking traffic collision. Or maybe she was about to say something in that book that they didn't want her to get out. She just happens to die on her way back. Now take a look at this video.
A thought. Just a thought form can manifest itself into physical form. So it's all about believing in yourself, believing in what you do, being able to see it, knowing how to get there, living it, and trust me, it'll happen. Ask and ye shall receive.
You see how wise she was? Talking about manifestation, always was saying some spiritual stuff in her vlogs and her videos. This is going over everybody's head. These celebrities be speaking out and dying for no reason because y'all still be asleep. When is y'all gonna open your eyes and see this shit? Same thing with XXS and Tashian.
You have to put the mind into what you want to put the mind into. If you believe in something, you can achieve it.
They killed him off too. Follow for more.
Is this why they call the cops police officers?
There's an office in the Catholic Church called Cardinal, so there's always some cardinals there. Mm-hmm. There's also an office called Pope, and there's always going to be somebody in there who's Pope. But it doesn't matter who's in there. It's the office that's called the Pope. And then there's also an office in there called priest. So they're going to have priests coming in and priests going, priests dying, priests coming in.
And they usually have their own
office. Yeah, but I'm talking about an office.
Yeah, I know.
Office.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why the cops are called police officers, because they are working in an office, police officer. And the office is a corporation sole, meaning it's a company designation of an office.
You name it, they did it on purpose. They've never had a vaccine for the cold because it kills the animals, and in human trials they've done all over the world, it kills a large percentage of those in the human trials. Normally, 30% are dead within a year. Do you understand what this means? Everybody's calling me, oh, you're right again. Oh, well, how'd you know that all over the U.S. they keep babies alive and then harvest their organs and vivisect them while their hearts are still beating and do experiments on them? Because it was in the damn literature 20 years ago. Now it's mainstream news. They're coming for you. They're killing you. And they don't care if you're a school teacher or a bureaucrat or a banker. So many CEOs and top people have died from the shots as well. This is just hell on earth, premeditated psychotic murder. And now they're going to say this winter, with all the incredible death, you never see stuff like this in the summer, all these diseases. Imagine this winter, they're going to blame the unvaccinated and declare martial law, and Biden's ready to do it. My God, it's here. Total extermination.
And nurses, and also so-called journalists and CDC officials and so on, FDA officials who've been paid off, and big pharma liars. There's going to be a day when they start furiously deleting all of their tweets and all of their social media profiles because they know they're going to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. That day is coming. But here's the kicker. We're only going to be able to prosecute those who are still living because they are killing themselves by taking the vaccine. We're about to see a mass fatalities across the medical system, and it's going to happen this winter. So you're going to see an acceleration of deaths of doctors and nurses, really starting in about late October, around Halloween, and then Thanksgiving and Christmas. But it'll really take off in January, February, and March of next year, because that's when people's vitamin D stores have completely been depleted. Remember that the spike protein side effects and deaths that you're seeing now are occurring in the presence of high vitamin D, because in North America, we're in a high vitamin D summertime mode right now. Imagine, Scott, what happens when the vitamin D runs out and people are given a third booster shot, which Fauci is now pushing, and this third booster shot contains another dose of spike protein bioweapons. And then you get hit with a wild type circulating coronavirus strain, a common flu or a common cold, that then causes the hyperinflammation reaction, which is the antibody-dependent enhancement that we now know. We've seen the mechanisms in the science journals of exactly how that works. In fact, the vaccines being injected into people right now are designed knowingly to provoke antibody-dependent enhancement. And what that means, for those of you listening and watching, if you have family members, friends, or coworkers who have taken this vaccine, you are about to see a horrific nightmare of their suffering as their bodies eat themselves from the inside. Because a hyperinflammatory reaction is your body sort of eating itself. The cardiovascular system is going to eat itself alive. The neurological system is going to be eaten by the prion-like protein regions in the spike protein bioweapon. Technically, it's called spongiform encephalopathy. It's like mad cow disease. You're going to see people that you know, and maybe even family members, who are young and healthy, and their brains will be turned to mush over a period of a couple of months, and then they will be gone. Scott, we're about to witness mass death across this country, and I believe there are some nutritional things that people can do, basically anti-inflammatory diets, that can save them if they've taken the vaccines. I don't think it has to be fatal, but most people won't do those things. A lot of these doctors and nurses and also so-called journalists.
So at this point, we all know Kanye been doing his little weird shit. Everybody believe this is Kim Kardashian. I believe it too. The man even set himself on fire. I believe that album has a deeper meaning than anybody else probably did. And I honestly think that they are paying Soulja Boy to do what he's doing. Check this shit out.
I've been knowing you since I was 15, nigga. I know the real you, nigga. You ain't no God. You ain't no deity. You ain't shit, nigga. You a fucking African American just like the rest of us, nigga. You need to come back down to reality, pussy ass boy. Cause you done lost touch with reality, nigga. Fuck you talking about. If you don't like nothing that I'm saying, you can see me, nigga. I ain't scared of you or nobody you know, nigga. Fuck you talking about. You a non-factor. You would've came on the stage and took the mic out my hand like you did Titus Swift, I would've knocked your ass out.
Definitely gotta be getting paid for that. And look at the color of his hair. He did the blonde ritual. In case y'all didn't know about that shit, y'all gotta do your research. They're not playing out here.
They come out last night on ABC, NBC, CBS News, RT, CNN. It's everywhere. And they say, hell, here's a screenshot of one of the videos right here. Potential terror threats, opposition to COVID measures, claims of election fraud, believe Trump can be reinstated, 9/11 anniversary and religious holidays. What? So, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have the document right here. With no proof, no evidence, they say that people that are against COVID lockdowns or against masks, they're not just going to censor you now. They're saying they're going to come after you like you're a terrorist. So then I went and I found the actual newscast. And then I went and actually found the actual Homeland Security Bulletin that we'll put on screen, where they go into more detail and they say terrorists are putting out the disinfo.
Where did the theory of mermaids come from? I know everybody wants them to be real so bad, but mermaids are not real. Biologically, they make no sense. Here's where the theory of mermaids came from. So hundreds of years ago, sailors or pirates or just fishermen in general would be sailing the ocean for months and months at a time, sometimes almost a full year. And their diets were very bad. They consist of just bread with water and salt, called sea biscuits,
And they would eat dry jerky with a lot of sodium. And they would eat this for months at a time, every day. Due to the lack of nutrition, the pirates or sailors would often suffer from scurvy. Now, scurvy causes a lot of medical issues. It'll cause your teeth to fall out, your hair to fall out. It'll cause depression and hallucinations. Because lack of vitamin C, and because they were hallucinating, they would often mistake manatees as mermaids or beautiful women.